I just wanted to tell everyone what a beautiful crowd this is. I mean, look around. Look at how many people are here. This is amazing. So, if you haven't put the gag on yet, turn to your neighbor and thank them for coming out here. Thank you. Thank yourself. Because this is such an opportunity that we have. This Nike contract is going to be for the next decade. The next 10 years. For some of us, that's half of our lifetime at this point. And the opportunity we have is by getting the UW to adopt a better code of conduct, we can influence the way that Nike produces its clothes. And not only will this affect all of UW apparel, it can serve as a model for other schools and even for cities.
We are asking just for the right to create a union without experiencing union busting, violence from management, harassment, death threats, all these things just for trying to create a union, which would basically let them argue a contract over what their rights in the workplace are. These are things that I think in some ways we may take for granted. Things like an 8-hour workday, 40-hour work week. Those are things that we don't think about, but these are, for other people, not a reality currently. So just to keep in mind, these are basic human rights that we're asking for. So when people say, you know, oh, you're just trying to put people out of jobs, you're trying to close sweatshops, that's not what we're asking for. We're asking just that workers be treated fairly where they work.
Yeah. All right, we also have Washington Federation of State Employees, Local 1488, representing Michelle. All right. Service Employees International Union Local 925. And Local 6 Security Guard Union. Alright. We also have the brothers and sisters from Jobs with Justice and local labour. And of course, all of you, we have members, I believe that at the last count there were 20 campus solidarity groups who have endorsed our program and who have standing in solidarity with us here today. So let's give everyone else a pat on the back, basically, for coming out and supporting fair labour standards. Woo! All right. Moving out, kids. Woo! Slow, nice and slow.
Should have yelled some yes we can. Steal it. Of course.
We're going to have to wait a while, so don't worry. We're going to have to wait 10 minutes in there. Very much. We can all sit down.
given the number of guests here and the robust discussion that we had earlier, as a courtesy to our colleagues on campus who are very concerned about the sportswear issue, I'd like to invite Stephanie Adler and Andrew Shorts and George Robertson to come forward, if you could, please. I don't know how you need two chairs. I didn't figure that part out. We heard from these folks earlier and had, I think, a very fruitful discussion, and it undoubtedly is one of many to come, but I would like to invite you to make a few remarks if you could, and we are happy to hear your remarks in their fullness. But I need to say one thing: this room is over fire capacity, and we're kind of pretending that we don't know that right now. But let's go ahead.
Okay. Well, look,
so if we could have volunteers who would volunteer to be victims if there's a problem, we would know it.
Probably work it out. Yeah. Well, first off, let me say on behalf of the Sweat-Free Coalition at the University of Washington, it's a group of student, labour, faith and community organisations that are united in support of fair labour standards in all union apparel contracts. We really thank you for responding to our sort of robust show of democracy here. We really appreciate you giving us this time. And I think you're right, Regent Cole. I think there was a very robust discussion that went on this morning in the subcommittee, but I got the feeling, and I think it was shared by a couple of the regents, that I don't think anyone was entirely happy with how the discussions ended. And I think also we didn't get a chance to respond, but I think in the committee, the way these contracts have been framed, I think has been a little bit misleading. There has been this sense that there's a dichotomy between the product supply agreement and the retail agreement, and I think that that's a false one. I think for a number of reasons. Primarily because the university profits from the labour that produces the garments in both instances. In the product supply agreement, just because Nike may not be making the same amount of money or that it does in the retail scenario, the workers are still working to produce those garments. And I think it's sort of unethical and not sort of logically sound to say that we will in the future adopt a code of conduct that will support workers who produce for the retail market, but we won't adopt the same code of conduct and we won't put in the same amount of effort into ensuring that the workers who sew the garments that our sports players wear, that won't be protected. And I think you can see by the number of people here that there is a community united in support of a robust discussion, and folks who have felt like they've been excluded from the negotiations, and I think that that's a fact. I also think that it's highly unfortunate that the way in which all of these proposals from the administration have been handed down at the last minute and not giving us a sort of opportunity to evaluate and respond. I mean, we've been pressing on this issue for 3 months, and yet it was only this morning, and it was only from the courtesy of John Paul that I had 2 minutes to look at the proposal to form a committee before the meeting this morning. And I really think that there's a broader democracy issue here. There's a campus governance issue. We were promised joint governance on this issue, and we really wanted, and people are here in support today of joint governance. Students want a voice, workers want a voice, unions want a voice, and community members want a voice in what our apparel contracts look like. I think in light of that, I would highly recommend that you motion to postpone the agreement until we've had that robust discussion. And after that, and when we have to talk about this committee, that's when it would be appropriate to act.